to No Bunts here on the Athletic Podcast Network. First up, it's the man leading off. It's Joel McMillan all the way from Taiwan here in the building in Atlanta. Joel, thanks for coming, man.
Oh, I made it. It's feels good to be home. Feels good to see you guys in person. Yeah. Set it through a computer screen.
Yeah, and the man hitting second, because he's the best hitter of us all, it's JD producing this magic.
Hello.
And hitting third, it's me, Tassos Milos. I just had a flashback because I say Milos because I had a flashback of the one time I was announced in a baseball stadium. It was a Utica game. It was Utica, New York.
Okay.
Yeah. They had the A-ball team back then.
Okay.
I think they were called the Utica Marlins. I think I came off the bench, and he pronounced it Tassos Milos, or it could have been a Tassos Milos. Anyways, it could have been both wrong names, but it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter, Joe. Coming up on this show, we will debate the most impressive feats of 2024, like Judge going for his third 50 home run season, or the 40-40 club for Shohei, which is amazing. Yeah. A Choose Your Own Adventure Toronto Blue Jays edition.
Got to.
That you want to take us through. But first, it's the Oakland Coliseum and your experience there, because you wanted to get there before all is said and done, because you've gone to many, many baseball stadiums. What number is this?
I think I'll be I'm at around 20. I'm hovering around 20, plus or minus one. But yeah, obviously, this is the last year for Oakland.
57 seasons.
57 seasons, yeah. And I was not going to get another chance to do it. So specifically, I didn't come home last year. So I was like, got to make the trip in. But it was everything that I kind of thought it would be. Mm-hmm. The stadium is very weathered. Not a lot of upkeep on the Oakland Coliseum. Yeah, a couple photos here.
Yeah, if you're watching us on YouTube, this is the parking lot.
Yeah, well, this is actually from the BART. BART station stop. Right. So I took this kind of from the platform.
Yeah,
and that's what you see when you get off the BART station there. Not the prettiest view,
No, there's a lot of work being done. It feels like almost like they're building a new stadium, which is not happening because Oakland will not be housing a baseball team following this season.
Unfortunately not, yeah. So it's just, it's convenient, yeah. And then, but you get inside the stadium and that looks beautiful to me. It's very lush. It's very green. You've got that. It was a beautiful day. It was a typical Bay Area day, cool at some points, warm at the others. There's Mount Davis there, which always looks really cool. It was just a beautiful day for baseball, really, to be honest.
The views of the hills are gone, are they not? There's
views of the hills.
You could see the hills in the background.
Yeah, there's kind of like these two sight lines in both left and right field where you can see, part of the mountains and the hills in the background.
Okay.
There's maybe like a better shot of it there.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, like center field, that big Mount Davis kind of blocks out most of it. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that was there. I don't know how long that's been there. I feel the stadium looks different, like watching it in the 80s and 90s compared to how it is now. Right. I feel like it looks a bit different. Yeah. But yeah, this the stadium's old. There's been really no maintenance. Yeah, here's the concession stand, Coliseum Classics. Mm-hmm. But I like I said, I loved it. It was kind of like a couple people have asked me. There's my buddy Kramer, putting some condiments on his dog.
You were disappointed with the dogs.
Yeah, we actually kind of messed up. So they did an advertisement, like, come down to section 113 or whatever, I forget what it was, and try our new colossal dog. And we ordered that, but it's not what we got. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We just got a plain hot dog, and then we had to put a bunch of condiments on it to make it colossal ourselves. But it was cool because it was kind of like watching a baseball game in a museum, if that makes sense. Like, sure. I felt like I was in the 80s or 90s, but like in a good way. I kind of like that nostalgia. Right. The bathroom, you got the troughs, like very, very, very old school.
Yeah, I don't mind that, I gotta say. Selfishly, I like the troughs. Gets the job done. It's a lot more efficient.
Yeah.
You're quite close with people.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate. Right?
Yeah, it was different. It was different, between having a urinal, then it's just a bunch of dudes at a trough. Yeah, a little bit of a different experience. But it was, like I said, it was a beautiful day. And the fans that are there
yes,
love the A's.
Because you talked to Many of them.
Yeah, and I'm going to post that on our social media account in a couple of days. I've a lot of stuff I've got to edit, but I'm going to put something up. But yeah, talk to the fans. This hurts them.
Oh,
you know,
definitely.
like this hurts them, and you know, talking to them, you really realize how big of a part of the community the A's were and what the A's meant to these fans.
Yep.
And through no fault of their own, they're losing this team, and it's very frustrating when I talk to fans. I didn't really want to talk about the move. I feel that, you know, that's been covered enough and talked about enough. But, you know, if you're an Oakland sports fan, you've now lost 3 teams in 5 years? The Warriors moved across the Bay. Mm-hmm. The Raiders moved to Vegas, and now the A's, I don't really know where they're going next, Vegas. But
they're emulating that Raiders move. They are supposed to go to Vegas. The next 3 years they will be in Sacramento.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's
with an
a tough
option
blow.
for the 4th, because who knows?
Right.
Apparently, whether the stadium will be done in Vegas by 2028. So it's like a sports contract. It's 3 years with an option for a 4th to stay in Sacramento to play in a minor league stadium, the AAA stadium for the Sacramento River Cats, which apparently has gone under a lot of renovations to meet MLB standards, but they'll be playing there. It's also owned by Vivek Ranadive, the same owner of the Sacramento Kings. Sacramento, it's not a real dissimilar situation than Oakland. You know, like they don't have a lot of teams, as you said there. So it is, it must be extremely troubling for everybody in the building.
Yeah,
because there's still the diehards. Like I know I've been reading Grant Brisbee on The Athletic, who covers this, who's from the San Fran side, who comes along, who wants to see this Oakland Stadium, and did it for a long time. But as the years have gone on, the numbers have dwindled in terms of attendance because they know what's happening.
Well, they're constantly just shedding their best players. I mean, I get it from a fan perspective. It's hard to support a team regardless of the sport. But if your team's constantly in flux and just, you know, moving their best players because ownership doesn't want to give out big contracts, I get it. You know, that's going to turn fans off. But like I said, the fans that were there, they're very loyal. They're into the game. They're knowledgeable fans. Like, they're chanting, they're cheering. Like, they were really, really into it. There were many, you know, we were at a day game in late August, and they were playing the Rays, so not a lot of fans, but it was great. The acoustics were awesome. You could hear everything, and you know, they had a little drum contingent in right field with the, you know, man fraud signs, and you know, Sal Fisher, you know, they've been a constant, you know, for the last season. So yeah, just a great baseball experience. I'm glad I went. It's just really sad, but you know, try to keep it positive. It was a great baseball experience. It was a great day for baseball, and I hope whatever's in store for the Oakland A's, I hope it's the best possible outcome, but I don't really foresee any scenario where they could stay in Oakland at this point. It just doesn't seem so.
Yeah, because you're saying that because it's not entirely inevitable that they go to Vegas. It sure appears to be the case. That is going to happen. But as we said about the Sacramento situation, they're going to be there for a long time. They're not going to be called the Sacramento A's. That appears to be what's happening from the Oakland side, that they're being called the A's and the Athletics. No city involved at this point for a number of years. It's going to be a long time before they get to where they're supposed to be. That's a very long stay in Sacramento.
Yeah, 4 years.
Yeah, 3 or 4 years. And who knows? We say that now. It could be longer. But this, as you know, on one... You know, one of your bucket moves here, was it something you needed to do, something you'll remember? What will you remember the stadium by? Expensive hot dogs? Because those were, you told me off air that those were pricey plain hot dogs.
Yeah, if I read this correctly, the Oakland A's have the most expensive hot dogs in all of MLB, which is a very odd...
That is mind-boggling.
Yeah, I don't get it. What will I remember? I think just the day, like getting to watch a game, you know, at the final season there with a good friend of mine, you know, and he's very familiar with that area. He'd never been before. He had a fun time. But yeah, just a great day for a game. And again, like, it's just sad they're going. I wish I could go back again, really, to be honest. Because like I said, even though the stadium's old, I like that it has a lot of character. I feel it's very unique. Like a lot of modern stadiums, I enjoy those too. But Oakland, and I think we talked about this on one of our old podcasts, and this is not mine. I'd seen this written before, but it's baseball's last dive bar. And I feel that's like a perfect description of what the Oakland Coliseum is. And there's a ton of history there, not just with the A's, but with the Raiders as well. I don't know what they're going to do with this site. And even like as a Jays fan, one of our most important games, when Roberto Alomar hit that big hit, in the ALCS, happened there.
Yeah.
And I, like, as a kid, as a lifelong baseball fan, like, the A's were one of the, best teams, during my youth. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like I saw a lot of the Coliseum, like at least on TV or highlights. And yeah, it's just sad, like what it's become, but I'm glad I got to experience it.
It's sad, and those fans showed it, the ones you spoke to, that you'll be sharing on social media. We didn't share any here because it's just heartbreaking.
It's tough.
It is tough. You talked to them about the final game, which is scheduled at the end of the season,
right?
Where apparently it's going to be sold out, and there will be lots of people enjoying those final moments in Oakland, right? They seem to be excited about that.
Yeah, it's
in a bittersweet way.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a very bittersweet moment. It will be a bittersweet moment for them, and I think especially for Oakland fans, but as an extension, I think baseball fans too. When I look at social media, I see a lot of like other teams fans, like hey, I'm a Cardinals fan, hey, I'm a Royals fan, whatever it is, and they have a lot of empathy and sympathy from the baseball community, and I think that. No, like I said, they don't want this to happen either. There was a lot of backlash from all base, even like Bryce Harper, who's from the Vegas area, said, do I want a team in Vegas? Sure, but I don't want it this way. Mm-hmm. Maybe through expansion and stuff like that. So that last game, I'm definitely going to be watching. It'll be very, very emotional, as I'm sure most people expect it will be. But yeah, it's happening.
You mentioned things that we've talked about on the show. I remember we talked about the Mets broadcasters having to change a booth there in Oakland because there was a possum who defecated in their booth. Any defecations? No. Anything you want to note in terms of, like you said, it's a dive bar.
Yeah.
It's just been there for so long.
Yeah.
And hasn't undergone the renovations as other stadiums have.
It's like they've got the entrance we came in. I don't know how many entrances there are, but the entrance we came in, like right when you get in, it's like the Oakland Hall of Fame, but it's just this big open empty concourse with nothing there, and then just some plaques on the wall. It's there's Mark McGwire's plaque there,
right?
Yeah, and it's not just A's players, but it's also Raiders players as well.
So they just copied that plaque, I guess, because that's the one in the Hall of Fame as well. I assume it has to be.
I don't think Mark McGwire's in the Hall of Fame.
Oh no, yeah, he's not in the actual Hall of Fame. That's totally true. But there seems to be like an area in the Hall of Fame where I guess he's not allowed to be in the Hall of Fame. It looks exactly
the plaque
the
looks
same.
exactly like it. Yeah. But yeah, it's just weird. There's all this just like equipment and things laying around that you can tell haven't been used in years, but they haven't been put away. They're just kind of collecting dust. So yeah, it was just a very unique experience from any other ballpark I've ever been to in recent memory. But again, I like that kind of stuff. So it was fun for me.
You mentioned the Blue Jays and Roberto Alomar hitting that home run in Game 4 of the 92 ALCS, Fackersley. Are there players that you think of as both Jays and A's? Like, is there a Mount Rushmore of players that played for both the Oakland A's and the Toronto Blue Jays? I should be asking who are your best A's of all time, but it's also, you kind of just skip over the last decade of A's, it feels like.
Yeah, because no one's really stuck around for a long period of time.
Right.
My Mount Rushmore of A's and Jays players, well, Ricky Henderson.
Got to.
He was a Jay for a brief period of time, but won a World Series.
He did.
Won a World Series. So definitely got to go Ricky Henderson and Dave Stewart. I forget his nickname.
Who's trying to bring a baseball team to Nashville, if I'm correct.
Okay, good luck with that. So yeah, I gotta go.
Who's Stewart's nickname?
Yeah, it was like the Eliminator, the Terminator, the Intimidator. It's totally
Terminator's
not
Tom
it,
Hanky,
but yeah, right.
Come on, JD, you knew your 93 baseball. Anyways, go on.
So Ricky, Dave Stewart, I've got to go Josh Donaldson as well.
Interesting.
He won an MVP for Toronto. He was really coming into his own in Oakland, and then they traded him to us. I mean, I was happy to get him. And then my fourth, I'm probably going to go Marcus Semien.
Okay.
Who I think spent I think he wanted to stay in Oakland, but just they couldn't get a deal done. Toronto signed him to do a 1-year deal. He had a great year for us in 2021. So that would probably be my Rushmore of A's/Jays players. I know there's more, but those are the 4 best that come to mind.
Good ones. Yeah, Jose Canseco.
My gosh,
Biggie.
honorable mention, yeah. Billy Koch.
And the nickname I just saw was Smoke. That's all I saw on Baseball Reference. I don't remember Dave Stewart
I
having
remember he called me Smoke. Yeah, I thought he had another nickname, but I could be wrong.
Well, on the Blue Jay tip, because we have to talk about it a little bit, it's what I referred to earlier. Let's get to a little Choose Your Own Adventure Blue Jays edition. Okay, it doesn't really compare to the sad times that Oakland is having. But, in a way, it's some sad time for the Blue Jays. For the first time since 2019, they're not playing important ball here in September. They're at a fork in the road. I don't know how many prongs are on this fork, really. Is it just a 2-pronger?
I think it's a trident.
Okay, so what do you think the Blue Jays do this offseason?
That's a great question. They've already stated publicly they want to be competitive next year.
Okay.
Great. How are you going to do that? With kind of their current roster and with their farm system, I don't know how you are going to be competitive next year. Now,
hold on, let me interrupt. I'm sorry. This is highly important from the Bleacher Creatures, the stream team. I believe he was called the Governator. The Governator? That from Espen Doctor. Okay, maybe I shouldn't have interrupted you.
Okay.
I take it back.
I don't know.
Because I don't remember that either.
Maybe, yeah.
What is he, Arnold Schwarzenegger?
I thought it. I'm pretty sure, though, it ended with a tor. Like the suffix was a tor. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess Governator could be.
What's a Governator? And why would that be a nickname for a pitcher?
That must be a Schwarzenegger.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. But that may be a joke that I didn't get before I interrupted you. But anyway, go on. Where are the Blue Jays going? Because this is something that's sort of been bubbling for a while, even though, as I said, there's been better times these last few years.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's really been nothing but heartbreak. I mean, if we're being honest, I mean, 2021, they missed the playoffs on the last day. And, that was tough, but I could kind of accept that. I think most Jays fans could. Just heartbreaking, but we were excited. 2022, they had the big letdown against the Mariners. They blew that lead, and then last year they just absolutely got thumped against the Twins. So it's just kind of progressively gotten worse for the Jays since 2021. And, they were expected to at least compete for a playoff spot this year. Like, that obviously didn't happen. So now they're kind of in this position where they've got to make a lot of decisions. Like I said, the team has come out and said, we intend to be competitive next year. They're going to have to spend money. They're going to have to buy their way out of this problem if they want to attempt to be competitive. They've got about I looked this up this morning. They've got about $120 million roughly in committed payroll next year. The salary cap, I think, is just going to be over 240. Now, the Jays have never exceeded the cap, I don't think, or don't even get super close to it. They're one of the highest spending teams this year. But when you look at the roster, they have a lot of holes that they need to fill. They need several starting pitchers. They need to completely rebuild the bullpen. But to me, the big question is Vladdy, because he's had a monster second half. Yeah. I think a lot of people are like, this is the guy we expected to see and we hoped that we would get. And now you're kind of seeing him, and he's going to be a free agent along with Bo after next year. But I don't think that Vladdy's going to resign this offseason. I know a lot of Jays fans are optimistic and think it's more or less going to be a done deal. But to that I say, why would he resign this offseason? He would be leaving money on the table, especially if he has another really good year next year. I think Vladdy doesn't need the money. You know, he's already, through his earnings as a player, I think he's made upwards of, $60 million already. And he's going to be arbitration. Like, this is his final year of arbitration. He's probably going to get 30 to 40 million maybe not 40 million, but he's going to get close to 30 million in arbitration. So he's not really hurting for money. He's going to go to free agency. And like, I'm just going to be honest. I'm not confident. I'm not entirely sure Vladdy comes back
because for next season.
Well, like as a free agent, like we have him for next year.
Yes,
but I think he's going to go to free agency. I think he's going to test the market, and good for him. But it would be catastrophic if the Jays did not retain him, and they're going to have to pay a lot of money for him. Probably overpay for him because listen, people might disagree. Toronto is not a baseball city. Can we agree?
Wow.
Well, like compared to the Leafs and Raptors, like let's just be honest.
No, there's no.
Like
doubt.
they're number 3.
It's number 3.
They're number 3. Okay. And again, like I'm not being critical of this, but a large portion of the Blue Jays fan base is made up of casual fans. Nothing wrong with that. They're paying customers. They buy a ticket, but casual fans need a guy like Vladdy. Like we want to go see Vladdy. Like we know that name. We're gonna go down and see him.
That's star power, yeah.
Exactly. And Ohtani was that, and we know the Jays pursued him. They didn't get him. So with Vladdy, it's of course it's a baseball thing, but it's also like a marketing thing. It's a business thing. Like it's not just on the field. So they need to figure out what they're going to do with Vladdy this offseason. I think they're going to do whatever they can to re-sign him. But if they don't re-sign him after 2025, like Bo, in my opinion's gone, and I think they need to trade him because Bo's not going to stay. Bo's been very quiet. I think, but to be honest, he's
not saying no matter what.
He's not going to stay. I would be stunned. And to be honest, Taz, I don't want to sign Bo. He's a below average defender. When he doesn't hit, he's a detriment to the team. And this year I know he struggled with injury. This is not the true Bo Bichette, but when Bo doesn't hit, he has no value. And he plays a premium position. Do I, as a Jays fan, want Toronto to hand out, a $200 or $300 million contract to a guy like that? Absolutely not, because those resources can be better spent. And also, too, the Jays have a very highly touted prospect. He's only 18, but he's tearing it up in the minors. Aram Najala, I could totally be botching that name or remembering it incorrectly, but highly touted prospect. He's only 18, but he's in, I think, A-ball right now. He's doing very well. So again, like he's a couple years away, but the Jays really, like it can go a lot of different ways for them at this point, but I don't see them being competitive next year. So as a fan, I kind of want to see them. How quickly can they be competitive? I don't think they should do a rebuild. If they can sign Vladdy, obviously they need to build around him. But I guess the silver lining is after 2025, they don't have a lot of committed money.
Right.
So they can go out and they can kind of buy their way out of these problems, similar to what Texas, the Rangers did a couple years ago. They went out and spent big in free agency, and they won a World Series. Now, obviously, they had some good young players coming up. It wasn't that easy, but the Jays, I feel, need to do something in that vein because the help is it's not coming internally.
It doesn't seem to be that way. It seems to be culminating in this disaster here in the Bichette Guerrero era, which is coming to an end in 2025,
right,
in terms of contracts. But the way things are going on Bo Bichette's side, especially, it's very odd to see him play this poorly.
Yeah,
hitting wise, and the Vladdy rough start this season, but obviously he's come on extremely hot. He's hitting 321 now.
Yeah,
just behind Bobby Witt and Aaron Judge in the AL. He's had a slow start homering the ball. In April and May, he only had 5 homers through May, but now he's at 27. So he's doing his thing. But it's just all coming to it just seems because the whole vision of Bo Bichette and Vladdy Guerrero was going to be this solid offense. At some point.
The cornerstones.
And it obviously hasn't been that. There's been, as we've talked about, some playoff appearances.
Yeah.
But it seems like it's just declining now. And it happens as they sell here at the trade deadline. Although it's nice to see Yusei Kikuchi doing his thing with the Astros.
Yeah.
He's great. And the guy they got, Will Wagner.
Yeah.
He's great in exchange from the Astros. But I say great. All that to say, it's just not all coming together at the same time.
Yeah.
Even though it seemed like it was destined to be with those two cornerstones.
Yeah, this was kind of, I don't think anyone had this on their 2024 Toronto Blue Jays bingo card, but really like this is worst case scenario, because it really kind of muddies the waters in terms of what they want to do in the future. Like they need to make a decision on Vladdy. But again, I don't think he's going to reset. And then like, why would he? I don't know what Vladdy's contract looks like in free agency. I mean, he's very young. I don't know if it starts with a 3 or a 4. I think a comparable contract would maybe be Rafael Devers, who's making, I think, like $325 million, similar age. But Devers plays third base. He's improved his defense greatly. That's the thing. Like, if Vladdy kind of... Like, Vladdy's interesting because he's had an MVP season. He's had a couple okay seasons. He had a slow start to this season, and now he's been killing it. So it's kind of hard to, like, get an accurate handle on, like, who is he? Like, is this the real Vladdy or is that the real Vladdy? Like, we don't really know. But I still think he's going to get, at a minimum, I think his floor is probably about $350 million. But I could see that going up to 4 if he goes out next year and has a season like this, but over 162 games. I think it'll easily start with a 4.
And it definitely feels like the Jays will give him the offer for whether it's close to that, but a lot of it. Because, as you said, this is a city that's driven by stars in terms of baseball, and they just don't have one.
Exactly.
Otherwise, there's just a drop-off, big time, in terms of anybody on the field, other than some hopes in the minor leagues.
Yeah, like I said, like they need, like, Vladdy is important for reasons beyond what he does on the field. Like he sells tickets, he sells merchandise, like he's a recognizable face. But do they get him? And here's the thing too, Tass. I mean, like, Toronto has definitely spent, like, Rogers, the ownership has spent more money since 2015. So I'm not going to be critical of Rogers. The money has been there. But when it comes to signing individual players, this is new for Toronto. Like, they're not in the New York, LA, Boston club where they're signing guys to 10 years, $300+ million. Our biggest contract in franchise history was Springer. And I forget the terms, but it was, 6 years, 7 years, whatever. And I think it was like 135, 140 million. That's been our biggest contract signed so far as a franchise. Vladdy is going to get exponentially more money than that. But also, take a look at it too. Vladdy was signed as an international free agent, but he has been in the Jays system his entire time. There's been very few players that Toronto's drafted, like, has come up and, like, we've developed. There's very, very few, and it's important to have guys like that. So hopefully, like, I hope we get a deal done with Vladdy, because if not, I mean, you're looking at some lean years. It'll be a total rebuild.
And I sure hope Bo just gets back to himself somewhat, because it's odd.
I do too.
This is odd. It's just very odd.
He's had calf, like, I think he had calf injuries even at the end of last year. But I don't like Bo's offensive makeup. I don't think he's going to age well. Like, once his bat speed slows down, like, he doesn't walk at all. So it gets pretty ugly once that bat goes. And do you want to be the team left holding the bag on that, because he could be dead money, fairly quickly. So I think Bo's gone. And really, like, if I'm being honest, I feel the Dodgers are a great trade partner for the Blue Jays in the offseason. They need a shortstop. Gavin Lux has played a lot better in the second half. I'll give him that. He had a slow start, but I think and Bo's signed next year too. He signed a 2-year deal, and I feel like it's a very team friendly deal. It's for like 16-17 million. So I think the Dodgers make a great trade partner for the Blue Jays if the Jays do decide to explore that avenue and trade Bichette, and I think they will, because it makes sense. And really, to be honest, I mean, Bo's been out. Since Bo's been out, the Jays have played better. They kind of rotate at shortstop. They've tried different guys there, but they're winning more games, and the offense is better. And I think, the management, and ownership's going to take that into consideration. But yeah, logically, it doesn't make sense to keep Bo.
Who would be coming back? You don't have to go too deep, but
I would want Gavin Lux back for sure. I would want Gavin Lux, and I would probably want, like, if you're trading Bo, his value, again, like, you're trading him probably at his lowest value, but his body of work is good enough where I think you could get Lux and another top end prospect and maybe like another lower one. But I mean, the Dodgers farm system's so good.
There's a lot,
and we've traded with them before, so it just, like, it doesn't make sense in the short term and also kind of the long term, because the value you're going to get back, because if Bo leaves in free agency, you just get a comp pick, and like, I don't really think there's a lot of value in that. I think if they move him now, they get more value for him now, obviously, or in the offseason. Sorry.
Okay. Let's turn the page. Let's get a little happier than these sad days. Well, before we get to that, just quickly, we've got the Bleacher Creatures commenting on Dave Stewart's nickname. First, the person who said the Governator was joking, so that must have been a Schwarzenegger.
Okay.
But this one here, Dave Stewart was always just called Stu from Calculin the Most Humble. And I don't remember a nickname. I gotta be honest.
I remember a nickname. I remember a nickname.
Smoke, that's all I see. Baseball Reference must be pretty good with having nicknames, right? Because all they have is Smoke. Anyway, moving on.
Okay.
We've done enough. But let's get to the most impressive feats in 2024, because there have been some great ones, and we're going to stay with one that's happened recently in a couple different ways. So let's go through this one. Joel, you make the call here. What do you think's more impressive? Aaron Judge hitting 50 homers for the third time in his career, or Shohei Ohtani joining the 40-40 club? Shohei Ohtani, who saw this coming? Nobody. Yeah. So which one's more impressive? Because they're both obviously incredibly impressive.
Yeah, I really had to give this one a think, Tass. Had to put the thinking cap on for this one. I'm going to go Ohtani.
Interesting.
Just simply because when his career's over, in his body of work, he'll be a pitcher and he'll have a 40-40 season. That's insane. Like, that is just, I don't think we'll ever see that.
Right.
Or if we do, it won't be in my lifetime. What Judge?
Why not? You're gonna be around for a while.
Yeah, but I mean, a pitcher putting up a 40-40 season. You think?
Well,
okay, I know anything.
Well, that's why
possible.
it's most surprising, and that's why it's just in terms of facts. That's why you go with Shohei Ohtani, because it hasn't been done.
That's a thing. Like, it hasn't been done. There's no precedent for this. What Judge is having another crazy season. I would probably say he's the favorite to win MVP right now, but don't sleep on Bobby Witt Jr. Don't sleep on Bobby Witt Jr.
But Judge is the favorite.
But Judge is the favorite, yeah. Why did I pick Ohtani? Yeah, simply just because, like, there's no precedent for this. Judge could possibly, he's on pace for 60 home runs.
Getting close to breaking his record that he set in the AL. Of 62.
This would put him one season behind Sammy Sosa for most 60 home run seasons, which is 3. And Judge is already in very, very impressive company. But Ohtani...
Well, McGuire had the 60 as well, with 3 60 seasons. Or multiple. He had multiple.
Yeah, he had 2. Yeah,
there's only 2 players that
Sosa
have
had 3.
There's only 2 players that have had multiple 60 homer seasons.
Right.
Sosa and McGuire.
And Ohtani is even... He could get in the 50-50 club. I don't know how realistic that is. Right now he's at 40 home runs and 40 stolen bases, but he's gonna get close.
Even the 45-45 club, which he could get to, has never been done.
Yeah, exactly.
Never.
So he's probably going to be the first player in MLB history, now that the National League utilizes the DH. He's going to be the first DH to win MVP, which again will just be something that, another feather in his cap of, like, this has never been done before. This has never been done before. But yeah, for me, what's more impressive, again, like, as a baseball fan, we're spoiled at the moment right now. We're seeing 2 unbelievable players doing, amazing things. But for me, it's the Ohtani 40-40 club. And he joined it he got the stolen base and the home run on the same night, or in the same game.
Oh, yes. a walk-off grand slam.
Walk-off grand slam, yeah.
Yeah, and so I had to look this up because seeing Ohtani steal 40 bases, it just kind of boggled my mind because he's obviously nimble and fast. Mm-hmm. But I didn't think he got anywhere close. And 26 was his highest, which is still a very good number.
Yeah.
But now getting up to 40, apparently, from the Dodgers coaching staff, they said that he can concentrate a little bit more on stealing bases because he doesn't have to pitch. He's just on that side of the field. And so I suppose that's helped him. But it is remarkable to be able to do that and to be the guy who did it in the fastest amount of games, 126. It's never been done. And he's obviously gotten on the hill this weekend for the first time since his surgery last September. So that bodes well. It just, as you said, we are in a lucky time because we were talking about the 40-40 club. Last year when we were doing this No Bunts episode, I think there's a chance that Acuna could do it. We've talked about it numerous times, and he did it.
Yeah.
But that was the first time in 24 seasons where we'd seen one. Or Soriano had one, the only one for the last 24 seasons before last year. Now we've had them back-to-back years. So it's Canseco, Bonds, Rodriguez, Soriano, and then Acuna and Ohtani. And Aaron Judge is just awesome in center field. Did you see the catch yesterday? I know you're here doing your thing here in Atlanta, so you may not have seen it.
I did.
You're not you did?
I did see the catch last night, yeah. Yeah,
up against the wall. You don't think of Aaron Judge like that. He's always the headlines and all the highlights are at the plate.
Yeah, exactly. He's not really awesome. known as a great defender. He's certainly not a bad defender, but yeah, I mean, and it's like what Ohtani and Judge, like, they're just so consistently good. I don't think people really are going to truly appreciate it until after they've kind of left the game. Because they just do it so consistently. It's like, you're like, oh, Ohtani's going to be in the 40-40 club, which is amazing. But I don't really think it'll kind of hit home until, like, their body of work is done. It's like, oh my gosh, those guys did that. It's pretty crazy to see.
Yeah, just to go through Judge's stats quickly here. The three players that have 4 50 home run seasons are Babe Ruth, McGuire, and Sosa. This is his third, and he's tied A-Rod with his third 50 home run season. So he is up in some serious class there.
Yeah, he's in some elite company.
Yeah, so Judge and Rodriguez, 350 home run seasons. And then there's been 4 50 home run seasons. Babe, that was a different time. And then McGuire and Sosa, also a different time, as you said.
Yeah.
That man is not in the hall. The first one. But I see that plaque and I think, okay, that's Cooperstown, because I've seen them in Cooperstown.
Yeah.
It's been there, but I don't remember the McGuire one being, in a tight corner, like, we cherish this guy in a different way. But nah, that doesn't happen in Cooperstown. Have you been to Cooperstown?
I have, yeah. Dad took us on a family trip back in junior high school. Got a couple photos. Yeah, it's great to visit. I haven't been in forever. I would love to go back. But yeah, it's a fun time.
It definitely was. And I like the Omegang Brewery in Cooperstown. Also, probably wasn't there when you were a kid, because I went.
We skipped that one. Yeah, we skipped that one.
All right, second one here. The most impressive feats here. This is a different one, but is it a ball going through the scoreboard? Because Jose Altuve put one through the scoreboard in Minute Maid Park, or is it a ball breaking a scoreboard, as Yordan Alvarez did in Tampa? He broke the thing, which was hilarious. Or we had a wedgie. Also in Houston, Shea Whitcomb put one directly into a fence. It's a metal wiring type of fence where it just wedged in for a ground rule double. That's impressive stuff. So we got Altuve breaking that perfect spot in a scoreboard, Yordan breaking a scoreboard, and a wedgie.
I'm going to go Altuve hitting the ball through the scoreboard because it's a small target. It's a small target. Wedgies are rare, but they've been done. Like, balls have been lodged in the padding and things like that.
Yeah.
And Alvarez, like, the scoreboard is a massive target. So he just, again, like, it's impressive. And for him, to break the scoreboard is pretty cool to see. But for me, I got to go Altuve just because it's such a small target. But it just went, boom, right through. What do you think?
And there was a great photo of the guy who worked the scoreboard, just getting through there, getting his little face through there.
Yeah, poking his head out. Yeah,
which was a perfect fit. The Shea Whitcomb hitting a wedgie. Shea Whit honeycomb. Anyways, I'm looking for something there. He hit that wedgie perfectly. Nah, it's not as impressive. The Yordan Alvarez, it wasn't during a game.
Yeah, it was batting practice.
It was BP. Not as good. The one in Houston, the old school type of scoreboard, where it went through, as you said, Jose Altuve doing it as well. The home team guy. That gets it for me. There's too many elements there that can't be beat.
I didn't realize all of these guys were Astros players. Now that's totally dawning on me. Alvarez, Altuve, and Whitcomb. Yeah, all Astros.
All Astros.
Special year in Houston.
Special year.
For shenanigans.
A lot of shenanigans happening. Yeah, I agree with you. And I got to get back. I'm just locked in here on people chiming in on Dave Stewart's nickname. I got another D-Smoker. No?
D-Smoker.
No, he's probably just joking. D-Smoker. No one ever called him D-Smoker. Hootski chiming in with, fun fact, Bobby Witt has had an absolutely insane 25-game stretch, hitting over 500 with an OPS of 1.410.
And just to kind of piggyback off that, the Royals are 1 game behind the Guardians for first place. I mean, this is crazy. I was talking about this with, Grisham and Skeets last night. We got into a bit of a heated sports debate. Too bad you weren't there, Tassie. But,
what was the heated sports debate?
We covered a variety of sports. I won't get into it.
So it was a round table.
We covered what was
many topics. It wasn't, hey, the Royals are going to catch the Guardians. It was
not that. But we were. I think the debate was something like, in terms of like a single player having the biggest impact on the game. What were kind of the 4 sports? And they had baseball as 4. I disagreed, because they had. I think it was basketball, ice hockey, the 4 major sports. Basketball, ice hockey, football, like NFL, and then baseball. They were like, well, quarterback is more important than a pitcher. We got into a bit of a debate. But I said Bobby Witt Jr. is
Here's a debate. Why not include, soccer? I know the 4 major sports are the 4 major sports, but what about one person's contribution in soccer?
Tass, I'm going to be totally transparent. I don't know anything about soccer.
Well, superstars.
Lionel Messi.
Yeah.
Tony Mayola.
Who?
Played for USA Soccer. I just remember he had a Super Nintendo game. I rented it a couple of times.
I had no idea who that is.
Ronaldo.
Yeah, pretty much.
Both of them. Isn't there one in Brazil, one from Portugal?
There's been many from Brazil.
Well, we can include soccer, but Tass, I don't know anything with soccer.
Okay,
but,
so what's the...
but tying it back to Bobby Witt Jr., I mean, the Royals were terrible last year. They had a bad farm system. And again, like baseball, there's 25 players on the team. And now, I think 26 now. But, I mean, he's having an insane season. Obviously, it's going to correlate with the Royals having a much better year. Yeah, I know the Royals have good pitching. They've got some good young players. But, I mean, he's putting that team on his back. They're not close to Cleveland. If Bobby Witt is having an okay season or whatever, right. I mean, he's kind of single-handedly, putting his team on his back, and it's exciting to see. I love watching Bobby Witt Jr. play.
And it was fun, and tying it to the sort of the superstardom more so than just running a team or his contribution to a team. Bobby Witt had that star power, that glamour at All-Star, both, in the home run derby mostly, I guess. It was, it's in Texas where he's from, but that part of it was, him grabbing the torch a little bit slowly as a young player as well. So that was cool to see, because that's somewhere where baseball has been lacking. We've talked about this before. Their ability to make their stars shine, like that one sport that we cover on No Dunks all the time in basketball.
Right.
That has been lacking, although MLB has turned it around.
They've gotten much better in recent years, and having some generational players certainly helps the cause. But yeah, I mean, he's an exciting player to watch. There's just we're talking about earlier, we're so spoiled, but I mean, even the young players right now in MLB, you've got the veteran guys like Harper and Ohtani and Trout, when he's healthy, and guys like that. But then you've got guys, like Bobby Witt Jr., who's the future of this league, and signed that big contract with the Royals. I think it was last year. Like, he's going to be there for a long time, and that's good to see, because I feel like in baseball, a lot of times the stars end up in big market teams.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that could be good, that could be bad, but it's good to have an elite player like this in a small market team like Kansas City. It brings interest. Like, it obviously brings, fans, more Kansas City fans and things like that, because they've struggled with attendance. And when they're not playing well, no one's going to the game. So
we just talked about Marcus Semien. I know
Marcus
he's not
Semien,
super duper duper star, but
yeah,
he should be in Oakland.
He should, and he wanted to stay. That's the thing. And I saw this photo. It said this was on Reddit. When I was researching for our show today, and it was a photo of the Oakland Coliseum from the 2019 wildcard game when they played the Rays. It was full. That wasn't even 5 years. Well, yeah, it was just under 5 years ago. I mean, how do you go from that to this? And again, like, it's through no fault of the fans.
Yes. And you mentioned 2019. I think of the Blue Jays when things were good.
Yeah. 2019.
We had a run. That was a bad year. 2019 was a bad year.
That was when we were like Vladdy and Bo were coming up. 2020 COVID season, we surprisingly made the expanded playoffs, which I was like, okay, cool. But yeah, 2019 was the year.
Yeah, that was the last one. Let's stick on those bad teams for a second here. What's the more impressive thing about the Chicago White Sox season, which has been extremely bad? Is it that they've had 2 14-game losing streaks at different times? 14-game losing streaks at least, because one of them was longer, but two 14-game streaks at least, or 100 losses by August 25th. So which one's more impressive? Because it was these long streaks. It was a 14 and a 20, and then this these 100 losses by August 25th. That's tough to do.
Yeah, I'm gonna go the separate losing streaks.
Okay,
because just law of averages, and I'm no math specialist. Trust me, we can break up my old report cards, Tess. But just law of averages. You gotta just win one game, right, like during that span. So to not do that twice over 14 or more games in a season. Like, teams have lost 100 games before. Again, like, to lose it that quickly is also pretty crazy and kind of like borderline impressive, I feel. But yeah, for me, like, it's the separate losing streaks. And I knew the White Sox were going to be bad this year, but not like this bad.
Yeah, it feels like they're going to be the worst modern MLB team. Most likely. They've lost 101 games now. They're at 31 and 101, so they've got 30 games left. The worst team is 120 losses by those 1962 Mets. They got
a shot at it.
Yeah, they do.
They got a shot at it, yeah.
So that's the worst modern MLB team. But I think that I agree with you that 2 separate game losing streaks of at least 14 games is harder to do.
Yeah.
Which is odd to say that for a team that's lost 100 times already.
I know, already.
But we just wanted to feel a little bit happier about our situations, and just talk about the White Sox a little bit.
Yeah. Makes me feel a bit better, but yeah, and it doesn't and I don't really know that there's any help on the horizon. And if you're a free agent, like, do you want to go to the White Sox? Like, no. That franchise has just really struggled. And I thought, like, when they traded Chris Sale a couple years ago to Boston, I was like, oh man, White Sox are going to be loaded. Like, they got a really good return on that trade. And those players never really came together. Injuries, bad luck, guys never really played up to their potential. It was kind of like a perfect storm. But, it happens, and it seems like they didn't really have a contingency plan. They've been very reactive. And, yeah, now they're just kind of stuck in purgatory, which is, well, not even purgatory. I mean, purgatory would be a step up for the White Sox at this point. But they're just really, like, I don't really know what the next move for them is. They've got Luis Robert Jr., like, he's obviously a stud, but
and they
not
didn't give
much
up
else.
on him.
And they didn't give up on him. And they've got Crochet, who looks to be like could be a front end starter ace kind of guy. But
great name.
Yeah, but I mean, beyond that, they don't really have much. So I don't really know what the White Sox are going to do. But yeah, those losing streaks, super impressive.
Very impressive. All right, that comes to brings us to the end, I should say, which is just a transition to talk about your next stop, which is Cincinnati on your trip here.
Going to Ohio.
Great American Ballpark.
Yeah.
This
First
Friday.
time.
Yeah, it's a fun park.
You've been?
No. I see it from the outside every single time,
right.
and I wanted to come with you on Friday.
Okay.
Because every time I made the drive from Atlanta to Toronto, I get up over that hill, and I see that ballpark. I see Cincinnati, and I get excited because it's probably the best thing on the road that happened in the first 6 hours of that ride. It's like 6 hours. I haven't seen anything. Bang! It's just this destiny. It's like you're going up a roller coaster. You're going up this hill. You see nothing, and then you see the pretty Great American Ballpark, which is...
Yeah.
I almost came on Friday. Almost made it happen. But it didn't.
Tass, you can join me in the Holiday Inn where I'm staying. You know you got a place to stay. Continental breakfast. We'll be crushing some bagels in the lobby. I'm excited. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to go. I'm excited to see Ellie De La Cruz. I'm meeting a couple friends of mine from Taiwan and Japan, so it's going to be a bit of a reunion of sorts. But yeah, that stadium looks great on TV, looks great in photos, so I'm excited to go. And I'm going to try I want to get this right, a skyline chili. Does that make sense? That's like their famous dish in Cincinnati. And I think they have a skyline dog as well.
Okay.
Which is like a chili cheese dog. I think I could be getting this wrong. I mean, I love to eat. I got to try these ballpark snacks.
Yeah. There's no shame in that.
Yeah.
But it sounds like they just put the chili on the dog as well.
I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah. But I have a driving question for you.
Okay.
Totally random. Have you ever done Atlanta to Toronto in one drive?
Yeah.
Just straight through, just got up early.
Can I stop for gas?
Yeah. Yes.
Can I stop for electricity? Yes. I did it multiple times.
Multiple times. Yeah. Look at you.
I don't know if it's anything to be proud of.
I'm proud of you for doing it. I couldn't do that.
I wouldn't stop for a continental breakfast.
No? Well, I don't blame you. Yeah, you know.
No, it wasn't fun, but I did it. I did it. Yeah, going that side through Cincinnati, Ohio, then through Detroit, and then Windsor. Yeah.
What's your preferred route? Going through Buffalo or going through Detroit?
I think it's Detroit because it's just
shorter.
Is it shorter?
It is slightly shorter.
Yeah.
Okay.
The other one you can get bogged down at that bridge.
Yeah, big time.
In Buffalo.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's a bridge that you have to go over
in Detroit.
Yeah.
Ambassador Bridge.
It's prettier.
Yeah. I'm doing it on Friday.
Oh, you're doing okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you're already mapped
I'm doing
out
it. I'm doing it in two though. It's ill-advised to do it in one.
Yeah, that's what I'm. Yeah,
it's a long.
Oh gosh, it's very long.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's you can push it if you're keeping everything in your bladder. You can do it just over 14,
which isn't easy considering you're just smashing garbage food and drinks.
That's optional. Yeah. That's optional. What you want to eat.
What do you pack it on your road trips?
Pack your car.
Healthy snacks, healthy food. Yeah.
From home.
Yeah.
Things have changed. Things have changed on road trips. And I'm just smashing Cheetos and Mountain Dew for 10 hours. Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of healthy snacks in a different type of way, you talked about the Ambassador Bridge at Detroit, which goes over to Windsor. Mm-hmm. You can run I think it's a half marathon where you cross the border.
Really?
And you can run a half marathon or a marathon. You literally cross the border from the U.S. to Canada. Mm-hmm. You don't have to, bring your passport or anything. You just run. Yeah, it's pretty cool. They do that annually.
Stop the clock while you're going through customs?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how they do it, but you're on a bridge, or in a tunnel, I should say. And that's that. Is that cool? I don't know if that's cool. I've been thinking about doing it just to say you did it.
Just to say you did it.
Yeah.
But is it all that enjoyable? I don't know.
If you're going to do the Detroit crossing, 100% do the tunnel. It's quicker.
Okay.
100% do the tunnel. I've done it multiple times.
Where you drive through it?
Yeah, I've done the bridge.
Yeah.
I mean, with my family, my mom's from Ohio, so we would go down there a couple of times per year. We would always do the bridge, but then when I went down older, I would drive down by myself to see my grandparents and my aunts and uncles, and I would take the tunnel, and it was way quicker. So save you some time.
Maybe JD's got to look at it. On Friday.
You got to show me where this tunnel is. 'Cause I've never seen it.
Yeah, it's there. I've done it. I
believe
can
you.
confirm. I can
believe
confirm it's there. Yeah.
Yeah, you run through it as well if you want to do a half marathon.
Right.
If you want to just run there.
Be ready to stretch my legs by then.
Yeah, that's a good call. And if you want to follow Joel's Cincinnati trip, hit up the No Bunts Instagram account, no_bunts, where you'll be putting stuff from the Oakland Coliseum as well.
Yeah.
I got to see. Some of those conversations you had must have been good with the people who, unfortunately, are seeing this an odd situation, because as people are commenting in the Bleacher Creature, and as you said too, yes, they're supposed to go to Vegas, but who knows? Who knows what happens here without a stadium at this point?
Well, even without a stadium, but again, like I've been following the story a bit, they don't even have financing at this point.
Yes.
It seems like it's a lot of smoke and mirrors from Oakland and MLB and maybe some stakeholders in Vegas, but there definitely is not concrete financing at all in place. So I don't really know what obviously the next step is Sacramento, like that is possibly going to buy them some time to get the financing in order in Vegas.
Which may becoming a lot from the city itself.
Right. But again, like, I think we posted, I did a carousel on this was last year, but a lot of Vegas residents don't want it. They just, they don't want to pay for a stadium. And there was a very powerful teachers group, who was against this because, again, like that money could be going towards like schooling and things like that. So I think from what I know and from what I've seen, it sounds like it's very far from a done deal. But that being said, I don't think there's any contingency plan to keep them in Oakland. I know the city's made some efforts to come up with some solutions to keep them there, but at this point, I don't really see that as a reality, which is sad to say, but, you know, this is the world we live in.
On a bright note, you're going to a great ballpark.
It's true.
Somebody in the Bleacher Creatures here said, I went as a kid. It was a great ballpark. My first one with a river in the back. Yeah, the river is right there.
Riverfront Stadium, yeah.
Yeah, so enjoy. No_bunts if you want any of those details, anything that happened with Joel. No Dunks will be back on Thursday. Some basketball talk will be happening. But until then, we'll see you, Joel. You're gone. See you next year. You'll be here again.
I'll be here. I'll be back.
Of
Yearly
course.
visit.
And we'll see you virtually.
You will see me both. Yeah, I got to come back and got to have a Publix pub sub. Heard a lot about them, and then we went to Publix last night. It was like almost an hour waiting line, but I digress.
It's always long there.
I've heard. But I got to get one.
You will get better. We'll actually get better than that. We can do that. All right, we'll see you Thursday.
Good stuff.